Ebusiani komo o channel so aha AG politics abadi. Podcast also trending make we make headlines ne di ebi exombo. Fast forward emo enwura eye insemini. Onia ye koma. K.Praat Junior etimi afaya eye miracle Aboagye based on ni Ǎrrěsť. No check say drama any comedy e wo mu no ni wi aso bai bra ohun bi da. Di ntina okasa ansemu sei ye mumro panyina so ye Abrawa Jemre ewo ye Pan African television so a what in some chinsi ego ho ede amai aha age politics abi ani dem ya ho braxi mu ye mo ngura insim enne your first time but mari so betima subscribe to the channel it notification bell so share na for accounts and send it to me nkb ya mi show say why nisa comment ho hia e ya na watch what so
this was just an interesting view on Bill and I think okay there's some but Mr. Praat, please go ahead.
Well, I mean, this morning we've been talking about drama and comedy. Well, I've never seen such levels of drama and comedy as was exhibited in the arrest of this particular individual. You know, when the individual was arrested, the party machinery started actually calling on members of the party to rally in his support. And we saw people gather at the offices of the Yoko to go and protest. And somehow we all assumed that it was members of the New Patriotic Party who were not happy with the arrest, the conditions of arrest of one of their members, and had gone there to protest. We only got to know the truth when one smart journalist took a camera to the protesters and started asking questions. And the first person who was interviewed said, well, he was there to protest against the unjustifiable arrest of Raymond Archer. I said, why are you demonstrating about Raymond Archer's arrest? I said, well, because he's our manager. He's our general manager. He's the general manager of Aboagye.
Aboagye team manager.
And that, in spite of the fact that he's a guy and he is a Mamprusi, he is still demonstrating for Raymond Archer. Listen to his language. So under normal circumstances, a Mamprusi should not be demonstrating for a guy.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, because he's the team manager of Aboagye, he's come there to demonstrate. Very interesting. Then a second person was interviewed. He said, I saw him, he's a Lokada rider. He woke up in the morning, went to Circle to ply his trade, and they came to him and gave him free petrol. I said, take petrol, go to Yoko. If you finish the demonstration, 150 cedis for your pocket. And this guy said on camera that 150 cedis, how he will eat banku and okra soup that day is not easy at all. So the prospect of going home and getting a bowl of banku and okra soup was what took him there. He was asked, but do you know the person who has been arrested? I said, I don't know him. He didn't even know who had been arrested. Then two women were also interviewed. Two women were interviewed. Two young girls were interviewed. And I said, they don't know the person who has been arrested, though. They don't know the person who has been arrested. That their madam told them to go and demonstrate for the person. And that the person is such an important person that if they demonstrate for him and he's released and he comes, he will give them jobs. Then another person was interviewed and he said, he is a constituency something of the NPP, and that he has been told that after the demonstration, when he goes back to his branch, there will be something nice for him. He didn't even know what that nice thing was. But he had been promised that there will be something nice, some reward, and so on. Master, this throws up many questions. You understand? Clearly, some of the people who masked up there, and it was not a huge number. I don't think that the people who masked up there were up to 100. But it doesn't matter. Let's say even 1,000. Okay? The numbers don't really matter. But this clearly shows that they were not party people. Now, we know that the NPP is not a small party. NPP has members. If you look at those who participate in NPP activities, those who vote in the elections and so on, if NPP is unable to marshal 200 people to go and do something in Accra in defense of their leader who has been arrested, and they have to rent a crowd, that's a huge statement. So where are the genuine NPP members? Why couldn't they be mobilized? Something is wrong. You understand? Something is wrong. So you put that aside. Then I listened to the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party actually speaking on Peace FM on this matter, Nana B. And Nana B says that his only problem is with Yoko, and that all other state investigative bodies have been behaving properly. When the police arrest you, they treat you nicely, they grant you bail, you don't have a problem. When the BNI arrests you, there's no problem. But when Yoko arrests you, every time, anytime, there's a problem. So his problem was with Yoko. What does that mean? Because all of these investigative bodies are public institutions, they are government institutions, their leadership is appointed by government and so on. So actually, how come that only Yoko is misbehaving, assuming that what he's saying is true? How come? You cannot move from what he's saying now to the conclusion that government is deliberately arresting NPP people and threatening them. Because if that were the case, all the institutions should be behaving the same way. So, as far as it's concerned, there must be something particularly wrong with Yoko. What is that which is particularly wrong with Yoko? I don't know. But it's interesting. Then, one of the lawyers for the young man, Miracles, is also interviewed. And he says his problem is that the guy was arrested and kept in custody for close to 48 hours. And that during the period, he was not investigated. Then the same lawyer says that the man, Miracles, was actually put in a vehicle, driven all the way to Latte to go and search his house. Searching his house, was that investigation or not investigation? Very strange that he was not investigated. And yet he was put in a car and driven to Latte where his house was searched. Then they said he was held incommunicado. Then one of them actually said that, oh, actually, as for feeding, there was no problem with feeding. That he ate what he requested for, and the food was provided by his family. Incommunicado, and he could communicate to his family and ask for the kind of food he wanted to eat and was given to him, and he was still held incommunicado. Very strange. You understand? Very strange. And there are so many other strange things, but because we don't have enough time, I'm cutting things short. Massa, the other claim was that when a stop order is placed on you, you can only be arrested when you are leaving the country, not when you are coming into the country. And that, what happened to this gentleman is a complete violation of the norm and so on. It has never happened before. This is the first time it is happening. And then we go back and check the records, and actually there's a video of Kodotu Mbuafo arriving at the airport and being arrested on a stop order. So clearly, this is not the first time it has happened. It has been happening before. Then they raise the issue of bail conditions. Say, what? If you grant somebody bail in a sum which is close to the amount of money he's alleged to have embezzled, stolen, whatever, it means that you have already found the person guilty. So we take a few steps back and we look at the bail conditions imposed on Woyome. And it was more than the amount of money he was alleged to have stolen. So again, it is not new. You understand what I'm saying? Again, it is not new at all. And then what else did they say? So many things. I mean, we don't have enough time. Then you look at the bail condition which was imposed on Dr. Kwabena Dufo. You remember?
Yes.
The bail condition which was imposed on Dr. Kwabena Dufo was 60 million Ghana cedis. Dr. Kwabena Dufo, 60 million Ghana cedis was the bail condition which was imposed on him. So you ask yourself, so why all these noises and so on? You can't understand. You see, my brother, let me make this very clear. Fortunately for us, there's a lawyer on the panel. Nobody today or yesterday can describe this young man, Miracles, Aboagye, Dennis, or whatever he's called, as a thief. He's not a thief. He is suspected of having committed a crime. The crime has not been proven. He's not been proven to have committed a crime. Under the law, all persons, including suspects, are innocent until proven guilty. By a competent court, not by any court, but by a competent court. He has not been tried, he's not been proven guilty, and so on. So we must assume his innocence. Accused persons have rights. Those rights need to be observed. And it includes the rights of Miracles Aboagye. He has certain rights. For example, he has a right to remain silent, he has a right to counsel, and so on. All those are guaranteed under our legal, in a legal framework, and is entitled to them. You understand? But this suggestion that the Mahama administration deliberately is arresting NPP people and treating them badly in order to make them shut up and so on, there is no basis for that. It has no foundation. Because if that were the case, then when Chumbuafu was arrested, it would then have meant that the Akufo-Addo government also had the same agenda. Then when the bail condition of 60 million was imposed on Dr. Kwabena Dufo, it would have meant that the Akufo-Addo government had the same agenda. You understand? And then we're talking about arrest and so on. And they said those who seek equity ought to come with clean hands. Watch your hands. Your hands are dripping with blood and filth. You understand? Why? Have we so soon forgotten the arrest of Mr. Chachuchikata in a church? In fact, he was arrested whilst he was kneeling down and praying.
Holding the Bible.
Holding the Bible. That's how they arrested him. Have we so soon forgotten that? Have we forgotten about the arrest of Mr. Victor Salome, the circumstances under which Victor Salome was arrested? And we can go on and on and on and on. Please save us this cacophony, drama, and theater. Let's deal with the issues. I will be very deeply worried if any Ghanaian is denied his rights. And it includes the rights of NPP members. But this drama, unnecessary drama and theater, creates conditions indeed when people whose rights are being genuinely violated, when they speak, nobody is going to believe them. Because they will see through the drama and the theater. Look, when bail was granted in the sum of 50 million, you should read some of the statements. I read some of the statements in the media, that this condition is impossible to meet. It is draconian and so on. Within 1 or 2 hours, the condition was met. We showed that it was not impossible to meet. My brother here is a lawyer. How are bail conditions determined? Bail conditions are determined such that if the suspect escapes, the sureties can be held responsible to the extent that the damage that the person may have caused and so on can be recovered. If I allow you, tell me.
Not necessarily.
But sometimes a condition for bail. You can't go and steal a goat. Huh? Master, you can't go and steal a goat and commit rape and get the same bail conditions. The nature of the offense itself is a determinant when it comes to granting, certain bail conditions. Yes, sir. So this whole argument, and by lawyers, this argument is made by lawyers, that if the bail conditions is close to the amount which is being investigated and so on, it meant that you've already found the person guilty. It's hogwash. Complete hogwash. And yet we are being told these kinds of stories and so on. Please, do better next time. Do better next time and stop this. Look, the running mate, the vice presidential candidate, Dr. Bawumia's vice presidential candidate, his running mate, has come to tell us that he is under investigation. He has reported to the security agencies over a long period of time. His running mate, not his communication something. So if Matthew Opoku Prempe is under investigation and there's no issue and he's been reporting all the time, he has not been maltreated and so on, how come that Miracles, who in terms of stature and so on, is much more subordinate, is the person that the Muhammad administration want to gag? They don't want to gag Matthew Opoku. And Masa, you are a member of the NPP. You are a lawyer. I'm sure you know the names of many people in your party, leaders, who are facing interrogation and so on, that nobody even knows that they are facing interrogation. You know. So if that is correct, what is this drama and noise? What is it about? People who are much, much higher, much more prominent, much more important than Miracles Aboagye are being investigated. They report to BNI regularly. They report to Yoko regularly and so on. Nobody hears anything, nothing happens. So why this drama? Hey, oh.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. In fact, when I saw those videos, I was praying that you will not see them. Anyway, that concludes our show for today. I want to say a big thank you to you for making time to join us on the Mother World Talk shows Ǎrrěsť and Aboagye today. A big thank you.
We ain't some of the team also a channel so I'm not so jammed. That's it.